You didn't even talk. Okay, I guess we're live.
And we're live. So hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's live broadcast of me and Paul kind of just talking and shooting the shit and talking land investing. So, Paul, do you want to talk about what's the topic for today?
Flipping land without ever stepping foot on the property, and that is what we do. So I think tonight's going to be kind of a freestyle type of night, and we're going to be here to answer any and all questions that you have. We'll let people start coming in here, slowly trickle in. But yeah, I don't have a lot planned tonight. What are you feeling?
All right, no, that sounds good. And we got our favorite student on. We got Freddie back on joining us today. How's it going, Freddie? Sharon Gordon Smith, greetings from Claremont, Florida. Paul was just out in Florida. I'm not sure where Claremont is, but you were just out there recently, huh?
Yeah, I just got back from, I was in Fort Lauderdale, just hanging out for a little bit over the weekend.
Cool. So, I mean, we can get started. Why don't we, let's talk about, the topic is can do this remotely from anywhere, right?
That is correct.
All right. So why don't you I guess for me, I got started in real estate. I always keep talking about this story, but when I got started, I thought about doing a real estate niche where I could first thought about house flipping, house wholesaling, where I needed to go on site to properties. But I wanted to do something where I could really do it from anywhere without stepping foot on the property. And that's exactly what persuaded me to do this. And I mean, with all the other benefits that came along with it, that was really the number one thing that convinced me to go forth and pursue this niche over any other. How do you feel about buying property all across the country without ever having to step foot on it?
Well, it's pretty awesome. I remember when we first met and I was talking to you and you were like, I forget how many deals you did before we partnered up. How many deals did you do before we partnered?
Probably call it 200, 250, 200.
Yeah, so you had done like 200 deals, and I'm like, wow, that's so cool. Like, you own all this land across the country. And I was like, have you ever been to any of them? And you were like, nope, like never been once. Like, and I'm like, why not? He's like, I don't know. I just never really even thought about it. It's like, and it's so funny if you contrast that to someone that is in, for example, like house flipping or something like that. They're there every day for months at a time trying to flip that house or whatever it may be. And you know, you were in the game for almost 3 years and you never even thought about going to the property.
Yeah, no, I was, and it is pretty unique. And we together, we were like, let's just make a trip out to some of these lots. And so we actually, the first time I was out at one of these properties was with you, and then we just kind of started driving some of our markets and started taking pictures on properties and kind of seeing properties, and it looks way different just looking from Google Earth than it does in person. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter about actually going to see the property, because I mean, everything that we need, all the information that we gather, it really, like from walking on the property, how important did you feel that it was actually stepping foot and walking on some of those lots?
So I would say it's not that important to walk specifically on the lot, but I think it is important to know, like, it's really cool to see, like, what does the area around the property look like? I only know what the area looks like from an aerial view, from a satellite. I don't really know what it looks like. What do the neighborhood looks like? It's really cool to just drive through. What's the demographic of people that live in that area? What do the surrounding houses actually look like? Because a lot of the areas that we're buying, they don't have street view. You can't just cruise around on street view. So it's really cool to do like a real life street view and see what's going on.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So if anyone has any comments or questions, if you're watching this live and you want us to ask us anything related to this topic or not, feel free to kind of chime in and ask any questions. I think we've got one here from Freddie. So Freddie says, I have been meaning to ask you guys, you say blind offers reduce calls coming in. Are you guys using PatLive to take calls from interested buyers mostly? So yeah, Paul, you want to talk about the transition from when we weren't using PatLive to when we were, and how we're leveraging it now?
Yeah, for sure. So PatLive has been awesome. I need to check and see, like, then we'll know when, if any new mailers are hitting. But wow, just thinking back to back in the day, what it was like to actually answer calls from people that are trying to sell their lots.
I mean, we were busy. The phone was ringing all day long while we were
trying to build a business.
yeah. So when we had our first office, which was really small, I just remember it was just me, you, and David, and we were just like everyone's phone rang for the Google Voice, and like it just felt chaotic because we were sending out a lot of mail. We were not sending out like a mailer here, a mailer there. We were sending out mail in bulk, and the phone was ringing all day long, and we couldn't get anything done because I think we started answering the phone first, and we tried to outsource it to David, and no one could get anything done because all our phones were ringing. And if David was doing something, we answered the phone, and it just killed our productivity. And so I had thought about using PatLive in the past. I knew that it seemed to be a little bit expensive, but once we did that, like I think that was a game changer once we started using PatLive. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm just like thinking about like when was our tipping point when you were like, all right, enough of this nonsense, we are switching over. Like, what was the tipping point? I can't remember.
I remember we had switched offices. We were back in our current office. I think Andrew was taking the calls at that point, and yeah, he was, and he couldn't get anything done. So it just, I mean, we just had one time we're like, all right, let's just try this. You mentioned something about a call service a while ago, and so we just tried it, and that was probably, we haven't been using it for that long. It's probably 8 months ago, 6, 7, I don't even know, 6 to 8 months ago. And that kind of changed everything for us. And then now we've got everything filled. So pretty much, Freddie, how it works with us is we provide PatLive a script, and so we provide PatLive a script, and when sellers call, they just go through the script, run through the script, and then PatLive sends us each night or each morning. They send us the detailed script with the answers to all the questions from all the sellers, and then that feeds through and it goes to our CRM, and then we just review the deal. So we're not spending our time talking to angry sellers or people who aren't interested in selling their property, and it's honestly a distraction thing more than anything for us. Is the phone rings, you answer, you can't get anything done, you're working on something, phone rings again. So you're saving all that time. And so I think that's kind of the value that I find in PatLive. And yeah, and so I mean, I think that, I mean, it kind of goes along with the topic a little bit. This niche is not, you don't need to meet these sellers in person. So I mean, obviously, even if you're household selling, they'll call you, but you never actually ever have to go meet these sellers. We don't even a lot of times we don't even talk to the sellers. It all gets funneled to that answering service. So I think that's pretty relevant as well.
Yeah, and so I just had a thought. I remembered like why I kept putting off the PatLive, and it was literally because of the name of the company. I thought that PatLive just sounded like it was like, sounds pretty like an amateur name for a company, but they're actually like insanely professional and like one of the best companies that we partner and work with.
Yeah.
Them and DataTree are my two favorite partners. DataTree is the best.
That was funny. You want to talk about that call you were on with DataTree the other day?
Yeah, so we have
actually a very funny call.
Yeah, was that last week or 2 weeks ago?
I think it was yeah, it must have been early last week before you left for Florida.
Yeah, so we've been having we're trying to basically change a few things with how the data flows out to our students for their personal accounts. And so we asked like 2 months ago for them to make some changes. And then we're like, okay, we can do these. And then they got like 5 or 6 people, literally the people that build the software DataTree, on board on a call just for me with a PowerPoint to walk me step by step of all the changes that they made for the entire platform just for us. And it was like an hour call, and it was so funny.
Yeah, so Paul set up a meeting with them, and they were just trying to help us out with something. They literally created a PowerPoint for the conversation with Paul, and it was like all the engineers at DataTree who build the software, and they were just like, I don't know, giving Paul so much praise and attention. It was was very funny in my
We're,
opinion.
we're the kings. We're the king customers of DataTree, I guess.
Yeah, I think, I mean, we're doing things with DataTree that I guess they don't have too many customers doing. And that's why we're able to offer kind of pretty good discounts on DataTree from landvas.com. And so they see that we have a lot of customers coming in, we're a lot of credibility, and they see that I think what we're doing could be the future for them. But it was just funny. It was just funny seeing that Paul being the guinea pig for the DataTree engineers. So I at least had a laugh.
Yeah. It looks like we got a few questions in here. We do this all the time. We just sell it.
Yeah. So how are you going about promoting or selling a property that doesn't have the ability to get power from the power company? So a lot of the property that we buy, and if you're buying property that's cheaper or less expensive, there's a reason it's less expensive. If it had power to the lot, it would probably be more expensive. And so this is not something that's uncommon. It's very common that we purchase property that doesn't have water to the property. And there's a number of different ways you could swing it. I mean, you could kind of like guide them and say, hey, if you're interested in getting power to the lot, you could point them to the nearest electric line, the nearest transformer. Alternatively, and the way we usually pitch it to customers is it's kind of your property to do as you'd like. And if you'd like to live off the grid, you can kind of get a solar panel. I mean, you could go off the grid and power your property with solar. And that's generally for the buyers that we actually sell to, that they generally go that route rather than going to the electric company and extending the power line, because that is a bit more expensive to actually go and have them put new poles in. And I've literally only had one time where someone actually made me sign a document, like allowing them to get new power to the property. So I would just phrase it as you could live off the grid here, or I mean, if they're looking to buy for investment, which many buyers do, especially if they're buying these lots out there outside of towns without electric, then it's not as important to have electric there at this time. The goal for them is they're kind of speculators, and they're looking to buy and invest in an area that they think is going to grow and develop over time based on whatever metrics or whatever ideas they have. Most of the time, it's people who live nearby or in a major city nearby, and they know about the general area, and they're just looking to buy and invest in hopes that in 5-10 years the property will be worth 10, 20, 30 times, whatever. So that's how I would phrase it. If you're looking to sell it to someone who's actually going to use the property, just pitch it as something, some place that they can go and they can live on, most likely off the grid. And if they want, they can contact the electric company to extend power to the property. However, it's usually a bit more expensive.
Well, actually, and from what I understand and from what I've gathered from our customers, and just like at least for what's available, supposedly for I think it's between $1,500 to $2,000, you can buy a 50. It's like half powered by gasoline and half powered by solar generator that could power like an entire lot for like a mobile home or something like that. And so you can pitch it as, well, for around $1,500 or $2,000, you can go out and get a generator and it'll feed as much power to you as you need. And that's kind of another way around that. And then the other big one that people are always like, well, how do I get water? Like if there's no water around, you can go out and they can buy water tanks and get them filled, or services that'll come and fill the water for these remote properties. And when they give you a roadblock for something like that, there's always a solution. And when you're trying to sell the property, you can tell them these things to help make the sale.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with all that. So it is a good question.
What's your DataTree affiliate link? So if you are interested in DataTree, we have an exclusive partnership with DataTree where we are able to offer you DataTree without any contracts, without basically any of the stuff that they require, and our monthly payments are lower than anything available. So if you are interested in that, you can go to our website, www.landvas.com, and then you can just click on DataTree, and then in the DataTree section. You can go ahead and sign up, and it is a great deal.
Freddie says, when you have a good lead from PatLive, do you call the owner yourselves to get more info or renegotiate offers? Do they decide to mail contracts back to you? Yeah. So do you want to go through our process, Paul? Or, I mean, I can talk about it. I guess it's buy side.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'll start it off and you can go. So typically for simple deals, we have our VAs from Land VAs. We have them. Do they do first step always email? What is their first step, email or call?
VAs.
Yeah, I forget.
If they're renegotiating or
just if it's a buy.
So if it's a buy, then it gets funneled to our buy side team, and so we've got Andrew and Chris out here in Chicago. They've got some helpers in the Philippines. The outreach to the sellers is the virtual assistant. So they're getting in the phone. The virtual assistants out in the Philippines. Once it gets added to buy, our VAs will add it to our database of deals, and it'll be under contract now. The under contract properties will get the paperwork gets done. So we complete all the paperwork. We create the deed, any change of ownership form, whatever else needs to be happen at the mobile notary close or the title close. We'll get all that paperwork done. So the VAs will do that. They will do the diligence. After they've done the diligence, we have all the information and the paperwork. We have all the information, everything ready to go. And so the VAs will reach out to the sellers. So they have a script, and they pretty much say, here's how the closing process is going to work. You're going to meet with the mobile notary. You're going to meet with the mobile notary. You're going to get a check in the amount that's described in the letter, less any taxes. In our diligence, it states what the taxes were, if they were current or they were delinquent. So we know the net amount, and we usually deduct the taxes. So they're going to say, hey, this is the amount you're going to receive on your check based on our diligence. There's no liens, there's no coverages, whatever. And then they'll explain the close, and then they'll answer any questions from the sellers. So from PatLive, it goes to our email. From our email, it goes to Monday.com. From Monday.com, Paul and I will review it. And then once any accepted offers get added to our database, our new other CRM, Airtable, and then the VAs from there will create the paperwork, do the diligence, and then once the diligence is done, the paperwork's done, that's the point where we contact the seller. So it's a full process before we have any contact with the seller, and that's just kind of how we manage it. So there's from the point a seller calls PatLive to the point that VA initially contacts that seller could be a time of 2 to 4 weeks. Honestly, it takes a little while. We're not super worried on speed to lead, as Paul refers to it on the buy side. We're more concerned about it on the sell side. So that's just kind of how it works, and how our funnel works on the buy side, at least.
You couldn't have explained it any better.
But yeah, I mean, on renegotiating offers, we only do that. So we'll add it to our database, and the VAs will send emails if we need to renegotiate from there. But that's. Yeah, so I would say the way the leads funnel are PatLive to our database, and then we'll have to renegotiate from there if there's something wrong with the property.
Yeah, let's see. I'm receiving rental applications currently for a lot like this, and exactly like you are saying, but rental they will keep. Oh, this was about the off-grid stuff.
Receiving rental applications currently for a lot. That is exactly like you're saying. Okay. Not sure exactly what you mean. So the rental application, what are they? And exactly like you were saying, what's the rental for? I'm a little bit curious, Kai. If you don't mind sharing.
Share it up, Kai.
Yeah, if you don't mind sharing what the rental's for, I'm a little bit confused on that part. That would provide some clarity. And so, Alex, the DataTree affiliate link, if you just go to landvas.com, you'll see all the pricing and information there. There's no contracts and the cheapest pricing around. So that's kind of what we're offering for that. Sandrine is asking, do I have to call the county to find out about sewer, power, and whether roads will be paved, or is that info available on the county website? So that sounds like a me question. So about sewer, power. So I mean, the power you generally, I mean, there's no county data really with sewer or power for the most part. If there's any improvements, there might be some like generally sewer and power you have to find that out on your own. You're not going to call the county. You'll do your diligence. You'll look at the streets. You look at the nearby, see if there's homes nearby. You'll see if there's electric lines or power nearby. That's going to be your indicator of whether or not it has sewer or power. What roads will be paved. So paved roads, that's not really county data. That's just look at Google Earth, and Google Earth should have all the information you need. If you have Google Street View, you'll be able to see everything around the property or at the property. So you're going to have to leverage that. And the county doesn't have a. All the county information that you can get is really available on DataTree. When you see when you're downloading it, doing a mailer, and you see all those exports that you could potentially use, it has all the information that the county provides. Really, sewer is not provided in that data set. Water is rarely provided. It can sometimes be provided. But I mean, all the information when you're valuing these things, you kind of have to use your intuition and just kind of look at the property, look at the comps nearby, look at see what things are going for, and just doing your own analysis and using common sense to say, hey, there's an electric line over there, and you can see it. You can see the poles crossing the property. So there's homes right nearby this property. So it's likely that it has electric. So that's going to be your indicator, and doing your diligence on that. And it's not usually the county's not going to provide that information.
I think talking about due diligence, we should talk about a big trick of the day for due diligence about buying properties, I guess, in Florida or even any state, which we learned today.
Yeah.
So I guess when you're doing due diligence, Willie, can you talk about the typical due diligence process, and then I'll talk about what we learned today and what is super important for people to understand?
Yeah, and so most of the markets that we buy, checking liens at the county level is generally enough. And we know the counties we work in so well, and we haven't entered too many new counties to get kind of caught off guard. And so our diligence process is kind of checking liens at the county, checking the taxes at the county, and seeing any recorded documents at the county, and that's generally enough. And then looking to see if a property's in an HOA or any of those kinds of things. That's really when you can get hung up on in diligence. But sometimes I guess we got caught off guard pretty bad today and yesterday with a deal that we bought from a company that is a little bit shady, I want to say. I'm just gonna be honest, they're pretty shady based on how they did this. But yeah, you want to describe what happened?
Do we want to talk about we should have had this for last week, the biggest mistakes we ever made. So biggest mistake we ever made, we bought 27 properties in a metropolitan area, all like top-notch lots. We were like, holy cow, we got a deal of a lifetime. I'm not gonna
literally thought it was the best deal we've ever gotten.
Yeah, and it was crazy. So we bought 27 properties. And we did a quick claim deed. We didn't do it with title, and we had our team do the due diligence on it. And we did the normal process that we have used for every single property we've ever bought, which is, what have we bought? Almost 1,000 between me and you, almost 1,000 properties now. We've purchased almost 1,000 properties, and with the due diligence that we do, we've never really run into any problems. I was flying home from Florida last night, and I got off the plane, and I got a text from David in all caps, like, this is an emergency. 17 of the lots had outstanding liens from the city, the metropolitan city. Some of them were over $100,000. Some of them were $30,000. Some of them were $20,000 of just like there were so many code violations with the city that the city went in and demoed these lots, and then the person who previously owned it was on the hook for it. The person who we bought them from got them from from tax auction or tax lien, and in other states when there's a tax lien or when they clear off taxes on them, like from a tax deed auction, all the liens and everything on there wipes clear. Well, in the state of Florida, in this county specifically, the municipal liens never go away until you go through the legal due process of getting them removed, or I think it's 4 years after, something like that. And so basically we got really screwed. And so basically what we're doing is some of the properties we are just saying, okay, there's way too much back taxes or back fines from the city. So, you know, we bought the lot for $5,000. There's $100,000 worth of back just
lawn mowing fees.
Yeah, they're all like lawnmower fees. I think one of them had a $3,000 fine because of reported prostitutes using the lot for whatever they're doing. You name it, these violations were on there. And so what we're doing is we're saying, I don't know how many of them, basically 5 or 6 of them, we're saying, okay, we're just gonna have to eat the cost. Like, we're never gonna be able to sell these because of all the amount owed on them is more than what the property's worth. So whatever, they're gonna just disappear, cut or loss. And the worst part about it is one of them, we bought it for $6,000. In 24 hours, we got a signed contract from someone that was going to pay $27,000 cash. We sent it to title, goes through title, and they're like, we can't close. Turns out there's $33,000 of these lawnmower fines on there, and like, it's been a disaster. And but we're getting through it. And the moral of the story is every state, every county, you need to be very, very, you need to do a different due diligence. I don't know what would you say that someone needs to do in terms of due diligence?
So I would say, don't let this scare you, because this is not common at all. Just be wary if someone only is willing to sell you a property with a quick claim deed and has a really long contract that is trying to scare the crap out of you. And so this is not something to be concerned about if you're sending out a mailer and you're buying cheap property. This is very out of the ordinary. I guess one thing is, if you're buying, also pay attention to not just county liens. See if a property is within a municipality. Most of the property that we buy is unincorporated, meaning that it's not within any municipality, and it's just county regulation, county law out there. This was not the case with these particular lots, and we almost never have to do diligence. I guess, well, we haven't worked in the state of these properties very much, and so now we're learning a bit. And so I mean, yeah, we were trying to go big in this one area, and we kind of got bit. I mean, at the end of the day, we'll probably lose 5 properties, right, of the 20 something, 6.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's like a $30,000 mistake probably. And
yeah, so we'll make it up on the profit. Hold on one second. You can continue. My computer's about to die, so I'm gonna plug that in while you continue to talk about how we're still gonna, like, I think we need to talk about how there's so much room for error in real estate that even when you screw up this bad, we're still gonna make money. We probably should. I think we could potentially double our money still.
This is the biggest mistake that I've made since starting in this niche. And yeah, I mean, of the 27 lots, say we dumped 7 of them, so we got 20 left. We're gonna have to pay additional fees on many of those, so we're gonna have to sink in even more money.
We're gonna have to sink. I think it's another 10. We'll have to sink in another 10,000. We're gonna have to pay off another 10,000 in fees between all these lots. So we have to sink in another $20,000 to make this deal work, pretty much.
Yes, we'll stick in another 20. And I mean, we'll still, I mean, I feel comfortable in saying it'll still be profitable, pretty profitable. What do you think? I don't know. I honestly don't know the exact numbers.
I don't know the exact numbers either, but I know that these are hot lots, and once we get this cleared out, like, we were putting these lots on the market and with a real estate agent, and we got an offer on 3 of them in 48 hours.
Yeah. So the lots are great. The only issue was the diligence. So make sure your property's not in a municipality when you're checking liens. And just be.
No, I mean, if it is in a municipality, you just have to search to see if there is any.
Yeah. No, I'm saying, search to see if your property's in any municipality. If it's in any HOA, municipality, HOA, county. And that's really it for the most part. No liens, and check all those areas for liens. Make sure there's no taxes, delinquents. After that, you're probably good. don't stress about this. If you're doing diligence at the county level and you're buying properties not in municipalities, unlikely in HOAs, then don't worry about it. And that's probably the majority of you guys who are getting started. So don't let this scare you. I know it's just I remember whenever someone told me about a catastrophe or like at least a loss or something that went wrong, I always started freaking out when I got started. And now it's just not like I freaked out yesterday. Today I'm okay, but I would say just don't let this freak you out if you're getting started and you're like overanalyzing things in the first place. As everyone who does get started in this niche and any entrepreneurial journey does. So yeah, we're just being honest with everything that's going on with us. So any other comments we got here?
There's a few.
Let's see. Yeah, we got a bunch of questions. So
hey, we just sold a lot while we're on Facebook Live. That's pretty cool.
Even though the phones don't work.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about the phones for a minute?
Yeah. So while we had this catastrophe today and yesterday with all these properties, we switched over to a new phone system that basically we switched over to a phone system where we can track all of our sales because we have 7 salespeople where we can track how many texts and calls that they're doing a day, so that we can really measure what the close rates are, how many texts and calls does it take to make a sale. And really we switch over to just track a bunch of data, and so that people can, it's also like a legit phone system. Well, everything is crashing and burning with the phone system. It doesn't work right. People's phones aren't working, and it's just been chaos with that as well. So we're having a week over here with our company. But we're working through it. And, again, this goes back to, I know we've talked about it in the past about having a strong entrepreneurial mindset. If Willie and I hadn't been through all the battles and journeys that over the years as being an entrepreneur, we would probably be freaking out. Like, yeah, the situation sucks, but I know exactly how to remedy every situation. It's just a matter of working through it. And this is kind of what my advice to anyone that is in the land business or an entrepreneur is that you just gotta basically think about the big picture and what you can do that's in your control and what's not in your control, and just work through the issue and you'll solve it. Every issue that we have, with that's going on this week for us, we're going to be able to fix it, and it's all going to be fine. It's just a matter of working through it. So you gotta any problems you gotta just keep your head up and work through stuff and not panic. Moral of the story: don't panic.
Yeah, don't panic. We're this week felt like there's been big downs, but I mean
it's only Tuesday.
It's only Tuesday, and we felt like everything's gone chaotic. And in the office, I mean, we've got some other things, other smaller things we're dealing with too. It's been a tough week, but I mean, we're keeping our heads down and moving forward. So I think it's a good.
At the end of the day, August was a record month for us. We've never done. This is the best numbers we've ever done. So, with the ups, there's downs.
Yeah, with the ups, there's downs. So sales are good. So there's no issue with sales.
They keep rolling.
Sales keep rolling. It's just other things that keep blowing up. All right, let's see what other questions we have here. We got a bunch. Ooh. Do I have to call the county to find out about? Nope, we already did that one. Kevin says, can you share some tips and tricks on effective listings using Facebook and other favorite platforms? This is a sales question, so I will leave it to you, Paul.
We don't really do any. There's not a lot of.
Yeah, I would say the biggest tip is don't overthink the listings. I haven't looked at a listing in 3 years.
Our VAs write them, and it's like a desert. It's a desert property, and it says "come for the beautiful views" and whatever, and and we still sell them. It's sometimes the list.
One of our listings headlines was like, "Your dad will love this property," and I was looking at it, and it was like our deal of the week, and it's like we're sending this out to people.
It doesn't matter that much. It's not that important. The important thing is that you selected a property in a hot market, and it doesn't matter how good your listing is. If you picked a bad market, it's going to have a hard time selling. So I guess the tip or trick would, like, for example, Facebook Marketplace is keep renewing the post. Make sure you make it extremely easy to contact you. Make sure you have a Facebook profile picture. Make sure you look professional in that photo, and make it very easy for them to contact you, and put all the information out there with a link to your website. Make sure you have a website so that you can build that legitimacy. But really, there's no secret sauce that we're doing or that you can do. It's just do the bare minimum, which is have a website and look legit.
Choose a good market. That'll remedy all your issues on the sell side.
Yep.
You prorating taxes on the buy side. So we will deduct the taxes if they're delinquent at the last tax period, but we're not prorating for the new tax period. So if they're current at the time that we're selling it, that's good enough by us. But you could negotiate however you'd like with sellers. I don't think it's a bad idea necessarily. Freddie says, "Gotcha, good info. Thank you." No, thank you, Freddie. Thank you for joining us again.
After this question, what do you you feeling like giving a deal tonight or no? Or should we save it for next week?
Maybe we save it for next week.
Okay.
Unless you got one, unless you got something, but Well, while you think about it, Kai Brown says, if investors are interested in holding their properties, people will rent your empty lot to live on in their off-the-grid van.
He had asked the question, or he had made the comment about the off-grid.
Yeah.
This is from before.
I bought my first lot in July, and the ad I just posted is receiving replies. Well, that's great. That's great news. Or other off-the-grid applications. Loving the content, by the way. Well, thank you, Kai. And glad you're doing deals. Glad you're out there marketing some property. So that's good to hear. Freddie says Florida apparently has nuisance flooding, inundated water seeping up the surface of the ground. Still buildable. Just costs a couple thousand to correct though. Yeah, so Florida is wet. There's no doubt about that. You got to watch out for wetlands, flood zones, and buildability there. So it could be a little bit tricky. You just gotta, if you're on DataTree, just pull up that flood zone, that floodplain thing, and that should help you. Check if there's homes in the area nearby. That'll help you when doing your diligence on wetter property. Jim says, what % of deals come from individuals compared to more complex cases like LLCs, trusts, multiple names on title, etc.? Going to my first mail in a couple of weeks, debating if it's worth including these to start. So I would say definitely include them. There's no reason not to. We buy properties from LLC trusts.
Sorry to interrupt. Also, don't get rid of the only mail the out-of-state people, or forget about the in-state. Mail everybody. The cost of mail is so cheap, and you never know what kind of lead you're gonna get through. So don't really get rid of anyone unless it's like the parks of that city or the U.S. government.
Yeah.
But I would say mail, blast it away with the mail. Don't.
Yeah, so be very liberal with the mail. I agree. I think that's the most important. That's the key to this business, is getting the leads, funneling them, choosing good markets, and because you make the money and buy everything associated with this business. And the reason you'd be good at it is because we're good at sourcing these things in good markets. So send out a lot of mail in good markets, and good things will happen. And the mail is very cheap compared to the property cost and your profit on top of it. You should be sending out a lot of mail.
All right.
Let's just answer these quickly, and then we can wrap it up. So, can you negotiate with the county?
That was in reference to the problems that we're having.
We're negotiating, but we're going to lose. Can federal taxes be applied to land?
I don't know what that means.
So, no, it's just county taxes, like IRS lien or something. So there can be IRS liens on property. I think that's just if you don't pay your taxes, I assume. That's what my interpretation of IRS liens on property used to be. Marjorie Ann Snyder says, do you insure any vacant lots? If not, what kind of insurance protect your company? So we do not insure our property. It's something we've considered. You can consider umbrella property. I don't know any land investor who does have insurance on their property. It's a very niche. It would be a very niche policy, and you have to negotiate with them to determine what's going to be protected, what's not. So we do not. Freddie says nuisance flooding doesn't show up on FEMA flood zones or county map is the thing. Gotcha. So I'm not sure exactly what nuisance flooding is, to be honest. We use the FEMA flood zone map and the DataTree map there. So Kai says, thank you so much. Your channel helped motivate and educate me to make that first deal. That's awesome, Kai. We're out here just trying to change one investor strategy at a time. So that's what we're doing. And Jim says, great, thanks, guys. So I think that answers all the questions for now. Anything you'd like to add, Paul?
I don't. Well, actually, I do.
Wow.
Yeah, a big flip-flop. So this is what I'm going to propose. If you're interested in Land Investing Pros and you want to become a student, I'm feeling very generous tonight. So if you send me a PM on Facebook that you are interested in joining, I will give you a special price. I'm not going to say it out loud because I'm going to do it on a case-by-case basis depending on how I feel. So send me a message on Facebook. I will keep my if you're not Facebook friends with me, I'll keep the message thing open right now. So send me a message and I will give you a special offer. Let's just keep it.
I will add on to that. If you message Paul, and not only will you get access to the course, detailed step-by-step guidance, how to choose county, build a list, price list, get it out in the mail, close deals in marketing and selling, but you will also get the group coaching, which is 3 months of group coaching with David. And he will help you on anything you need in the land business. And on top of that, I will add as an added bonus, if you sign up today, I will help you choose 3 different markets for you to send out your first mailer.
That is not normally included. So you will.
That is definitely not normally included.
We'll help you choose 3 markets, but you have to send me a PM right now.
Send Paul PM, and that is your special offer today. So I think that's it for me, Paul. Any last words from you?
No. Keep flipping them lots, right?
Keep flipping them lots. Yeah, that's about it. So if you're interested in getting started in the land business, please visit landinvestingpros.com. Watch our free webinar. A lot of great content in there. And yeah, so if you don't know our strategy, you don't know who we are, please go on there, watch the webinar, and you will be blown away. So that's it. Keep flipping them lots.
Same time, same place. See you next week.
See ya.